Scent Blocker presents Whitetail Frenzy.
Such high hopes of getting an opportunity at this big 8-point. He was showing up on camera and it was just like he knew. Bow season came in and like a lot of big bucks do, he just completely disappeared. No more trail camera pictures. I hunted him several days with no luck. This isn't your average hunting show, and hunting isn't our full-time occupation. We have families, full-time jobs, and face the same struggles as many of you. Months of scouting and preparation for a single short moment in time. That moment when you can't control your breathing and your heart is pounding out of your chest.
Whitetail Frenzy is brought to you by Scent Blocker, Elite Archery, the world's most shootable bow, Dual Game Calls, get real, get dual, Chemex Crossbows, built like no other.
Here we are back at it, mid-season form with Whitetail Frenzy. Last week we followed D, the Chili Man Cowger, as he knocked down a beautiful black bear right in our home state of West Virginia. Jeff Perry, you know, the silver fox,
Yep.
He was at it again with his bow, another big whitetail on the ground.
And I went out and did a little urban hunting myself and knocked down a couple does with the Elite bow. Well, this week we're back in our home state of West Virginia again, but we're not urban hunting this time. We're out in the mountains of West Virginia trying to get on a big buck. And hunting these areas, especially places that are high pressure like we hunt a lot of times in a state like West Virginia, not known for producing a lot of big bucks, it's really tough when you have a full-time job like we do. This isn't our full-time gig. We have families, our kids have a lot going on. Trying to find time to get out and find these big bucks is tough, but I did find a slunger of an 8-point. He's the best 8-point I've ever hunted here in West Virginia. But let's get right to the action. Let's get out there pre-season, get the covert cameras out and see if we can get on one. This is the tree, basically right up in there where my stand's going to be set. And these deer are going to be funneling through here. And as they come out, they're already going to be past this tree, quartering away, have no clue that we're here. But what I'm going to do is here in about a week or two, as we start getting closer to season, I'm going to take the peanut addiction and I'm going to start putting it out that way. That way we're pulling the deer past the stand, because what I don't want to happen is a big buck to stop right here and 15 minutes before dark and start feeding and then step out when we lose camera lights. So I've got what I consider a giant 8-point showing up on covert camera here in West Virginia. I've been waiting all summer and it's finally here. Bow season is here. I'm going to climb in the X stand and hope this big boy makes a mistake and gives me a shot. It's early bow season here in West Virginia. I'm set up on a ridge top just in the middle of a big thicket. But there's a little opening right here in front of me. I've had a covert camera on this opening and I've got a lot of pictures of a couple pretty good bucks as they're coming through this thicket. They're crossing through this opening as they're heading down the ridge toward the acorns to feed. Hopefully as the sun starts to go down this afternoon and the temperature starts to drop a little bit, these deer will get on their feet and start moving. Keep my fingers crossed. I'm ready to put the Elite to work. A lot of deer activity here the last hour and a half or so. We're down to the final hour of light. It's that magic time when the big boys hopefully get on their feet. Just need one to cruise through here and give me a shot. I'm gonna get backed up. I'm gonna let him ease on around the hill, and as soon as he gets outside, I'm already gonna get down, and I think I may come back here in the morning. What are you gonna do to the deer?
What are you gonna do to the deer? Just shoot the deer?
Shoot the deer.
Whitetail Frenzy is brought to you by Rambo Bikes and X-Stand Tree Stands. Slick Trick Broadheads, the original all-steel broadhead. Slash arrows with integrated blade technology. Order using promo code Whitetail Frenzy. Custom bow equipment. Competition-inspired hunting sights. Covert scouting cameras. Size does matter. Custard Stand. The world's finest ready-to-eat hot dog chili. Hatfield McCoy Trails, offering some of the best off-road trail systems on Earth.
I'm back in the stand. It's my second day in this set. I hunted here a few days ago. Had some really good activity that evening. But just the bucks that I'm after, they haven't been showing up on camera. And there's been a lot more activity on the covert camera during the mornings and the evenings. And I think that's because we're getting some really cool nights now. And the mornings are cool when these deer are on their feet feeding. It warms up during the day and the evening movement's not quite as good. I don't like hunting big bucks during the early season in the morning just because there's a high risk of spooking those deer coming in the woods because they're on their feet. And I tell you, I did spook quite a few coming in this morning early and then blowing everywhere. So probably not good for my morning set. But I did come in a couple hours before daylight, so hopefully things will calm down. Maybe I'll get lucky and catch a big shooter cruiser here this morning. Time to pack it up. Another day without picking up my bow off the hanger.
So I had such high hopes of getting an opportunity at this big 8-point. He was showing up on camera and it was just like he knew. Bow season came in and like a lot of big bucks do, he just completely disappeared. No more trail camera pictures. I hunted him several days with no luck. And on top of that, I'm not getting any pictures of him.
Well, it's like I always tell you, the season's long. It's a long season. We're not in a sprint. We're not in a race. We're in a marathon. All we've got to do is outlast them. They're going to show back up.
I was hoping for a sprint. I was hoping he was going to show up.
Well, that's not how it always works when you hunt mature deer.
But this week, we have a special guest coming up to hunt with us. We have Brent Betancourt from South Carolina. He's an active military member. You know, for those of you all that follow Whitetail Frenzy, you know that we try to do a lot to give back to the community. But what a better way than to give back to those people who have served our country.
Yeah, we have 2 active military individuals on our team. You know, and to know what they go through on an everyday routine or what they have gone through in the past. I mean, you sit down and you talk to these individuals, but to really understand it and to know the sacrifices that the men and women make in the military, I mean, my hat's off to them because without them, we couldn't be doing this today.
They make sacrifices so that we can live in the greatest country in the world. And When Life Sucks is an unbelievable organization. It's a nonprofit organization that focuses on getting veterans with PTSD involved into the outdoors. They found that outdoor activities help lower stress levels for our military members with PTSD. And they have a dinner every year. It's called Save the 22 dinner. Now that Save the 22, that represents the 22 veterans every single day on average that commit suicide. Now their goal is to play a major role in trying to reduce that number and helping our veterans who have done so much for us. So we're just ecstatic to be part of it. You know, Camex Crossbows was nice enough to donate a brand new crossbow. The winner of this crossbow, we're gonna bring them on a hunt to West Virginia. Official. Got your West Virginia hunting license now. You ready to go?
Oh yeah.
Well, Brent just got in a little bit ago from South Carolina. Met Brent this past summer. We did an event down there called it was Save the 22 dinner, right? When Life Sucks. It's a nonprofit organization. They help veterans with PTSD. The turnout was awesome. There was tons of prizes and giveaways, and Brent happened to be the lucky recipient of a new Camex crossbow. Camex crossbow sent the crossbow down, and then he gets to come up here to West Virginia. We're going to take him out hunting and got some great deer, so hopefully we can put him on one. But the weather sucks. I mean, it's 85 degrees right now. It's really warm for mid-October.
But we got some good deer showing up. You never know. You can't kill them at home, right?
Correct.
Hopefully we get it done this time. If we don't get it done, hopefully he can come back up this year. But we got 3 days.
Yep.
3 days to make it happen. So let's get out there. It's early afternoon. We're gonna get out in the stand this evening and see if he can put one down. So I put so much time in this summer scouting and preparing everything and locating this big 8-point buck and put some time into hunting him. And you know I am. When I find a big buck, I usually don't tell anybody. I'll tell people within a totally different county. But had this big buck showing up and Brent's coming in, he's in the military, I couldn't think of a better place to take him. We're gonna take him, put him in the stand, and hopefully this big boy will show up.
Well, this was the final hunt on day 4. Saw a lot of little younger bucks and some does, but nothing to shoot at. Maybe next time.
There are 2 things we can't control, and that's wild animals and Mother Nature. And unfortunately for Brent's hunt, he just had 3 days when he came in, and we just had a crazy warm spell that came through and it really shut the deer down. He saw a few deer. He was just really hoping to get on a nice buck, and unfortunately for Brent, it didn't pan out this time. But we're gonna have Brent back. He's gonna come back, and we're gonna try to do a better job putting him on a big buck. But now as the season progresses, the bucks are starting to get on their feet. The rut is kicking in. Now, I still don't have any pictures of this big 8-point, but my gut feeling tells me he's still there. So I'm gonna hop back in the stand. Same stand Brent was hunting in, but hopefully this big 8-point will finally make an appearance.
Well, it's late October and it's getting to be that time of year when grunting and rattling, calling, start to be really effective. You know, it's a cool morning. We've got some cool weather here the last week or so, but it's not as cold as it was supposed to be. It was supposed to be down in the mid to lower 30s, but the clouds didn't roll out last night like they had expected. And we still got a lot of cloud cover and kind of kept the heat in a little bit. So it's about 40 degrees. Still pretty good conditions other than the fact that we got a southwest wind, which is not the best wind for this stand because we expect a lot of deer to come from that thicket. But yeah, we got our scent blocker gear. Hopefully it can help us enough that if we can get a big boy in here and get a shot off. We got pictures of a pretty good buck in the area. Got one down last week, so I got the monkey off my back. Now it's time for number 2. Hopefully we can fill a second buck tag here in the Mountain State. I've never in my life had a buck do that. I mean, I've hunted a long time and I've killed some big bucks, but that was awesome. Like, he came running within seconds. I mean, I hit that dual grunt call, tickled the rattling antlers together, and he came on a run.
Whitetail Frenzy is brought to you by Scott Releases, the #1 name in the release game. Whitetail Trail Mix. Go to whitetailtrailmix.com to find your closest dealer. Lethal Addiction Mineral and Attractant. Warner Law Offices. Call 304-345-6789. Peanut Addiction. The addiction is real. Cirrus Wind Indicator. Order at cirrusoutdoors.com using promo code Whitetail Frenzy. Whitetail Frenzy is also brought to you by the following partners.
So as you all know, we work full-time jobs and we have families, and we don't always have a cameraman there with us. A lot of times we're out there by ourselves. And early season, late season, when those deer are coming to food sources, it's not a big deal to sell film. It's not too difficult. But in situations like this, when the deer are on their feet and they're moving, solo filming is pretty dang tough.
Well, I'm back in the stand, just now getting good camera light. I got set up in here about an hour and a half before daylight this morning. The way things could calm down, I busted some deer coming in, but I put some Peanut Addiction out behind the tree over there. I already had a couple deer come in before daylight, couldn't really tell what they were. Conditions again, like yesterday, they're not good, and the weatherman was definitely wrong. They seem to be a lot of times. It's supposed to be around 50 this morning, which is not cold, but I think it's closer to 60. It's supposed to be pretty calm, but it's windy. Not good conditions again, just like yesterday, but it is November. Anything can happen. Gosh. The only thing worse than missing a big buck is making a terrible shot on one, and that's what I did. I made an absolute terrible shot. I think chances of recovery are 0. I mean, it looked like the shot hit him right under the spine, about as close to the spine as I get without actually hitting the spine. Couldn't tell for sure if I hit him on camera, just looking at the small screen. I was pretty sure I did. I got down and got my arrow, and sure enough, I hit him. I went ahead and lowered my bow down. Going to pack up, get out of here, go get some lunch, come back in a few hours, and see if I can find a blood trail and track him. I know I couldn't imagine that deer not surviving that shot. So this is not something that any hunter that has any type of respect for the game that they're hunting wants to see. This was a bad shot, but one of the things I noticed looking back at the footage is something that I'm hoping you all can learn from this. And this is something that I knew. I know when a deer is alert, especially if they're out there at 30 yards, around 30 yards like this deer was, or beyond, that they can react really quick to the shot. And I should have held that pin on the bottom of the deer. I didn't. I'm up there self-filming. A lot of things are going on. I put in time. My heart's pounding. I mean, I still get buck fever like I did when I was 15 years old. So everything is happening really fast, and I pull back and I settle my pin on the deer and I shoot. And you can see by the footage, where I was aiming at this deer, my arrow hit where I was aiming, but this deer just dropped so fast. Their reaction time is unbelievable. I think a lot of times hunters hit deer high and they wonder, man, how'd I hit high on that deer? Because one of the great things about filming our hunts is that we can look back at that and find out what happened. So I'm hoping that even though that I made a bad shot, I'm hoping that some people out there may be able to learn something from this. I know I did, and I'll make sure that I settle down a little more next time and put that pin a little lower. Well, I still feel like someone kicked me in the stomach. I don't feel any better. I wasn't able to find anyone to help me track the deer, so I came back in by myself, so I wasn't able to film any of the track job. I was able to find blood. He bled pretty good there for a little while, and then the blood just got spotty. He went all the way to the bottom of the hollow. I thought maybe I might get lucky and sneak to the edge and look down in there and get a shot at him with my bow, but he wasn't there, and it was straight up and down going up the other side, and sure enough, he went up the other side, able to find a few spots of blood. He went probably 3/4 of the way up the mountain, and then barely left, and then I completely lost blood, so I just stayed on that trail and just took my time easing around through there, thinking maybe I might be able to sneak up on him and get a shot with my bow, but just didn't happen. I jumped him up. He jumped up when I was probably about 70, 80 yards from him. He blew, took off running straight up the mountainside, and went out of sight as he was going over top of the ridge. He didn't look like he was hurt. I went over, found where he was bed. There was only a couple little drops of blood, so I think the deer, will survive the shot. I've seen a lot of deer hit up high like that and survive it. It's the best thing I can hope for now. I will come back tomorrow, though. I'll go back over there to where I last saw him, just kind of comb that area, go over the other side, and look just to make sure, just double check. But I'm pretty much as close to 100% sure that shot's not going to kill that deer as I can be. So I've kind of probably messed this area up today, just in here walking around and tracking. So I'm gonna just go ahead and pack up my stuff, get out of here, go home, and I'll probably cry myself to sleep.
Every bow hunter has been there. If you hunt with a bow long enough, this is going to happen to you. You take the time and you practice all season long, and you actually hit your mark. You hit exactly where you were aiming. But the problem is, the deer. Once again, their sixth sense. They know, they hear, they smell. It's unbelievable what they can do with the reaction time.
And an 8-point like that is just not something that you see every day in West Virginia. He was a dandy.
You don't see that every day anywhere. I've hunted across the country, and you don't see a 145-inch 8-point just anywhere.
Yeah, he was a dandy, and I didn't sleep for days. We spent the next 3 days looking for this deer, and we knew, we've hunted long enough to know that they're arrowhead above the vitals, but we still owe it to that animal to try to make a recovery. And but what I will say, on a positive note, I was bummed for the longest time. We went in there in January. We were getting our trail cameras in the area, and I looked on the other side of the hill, and I saw that deer on the edge of a right-of-way. He still had his antlers. I had my optics. I got a good look at him. It was 100% him. So the deer made it through the season. It would have been really cool if we had a camera to get that on film. But
oh yeah, the back flip and the round off you did afterwards, and the pump fist. Oh yeah, I'd like to see that on camera.
If I could do a backflip, I would have done one. Well, hey, we really hope you all learned something from that. I'm still hurting in here over that deer, and we never want to wound an animal. We want to make an ethical shot every time we can, if possible. But I am excited for the upcoming season to try to get on that deer again. And as always, thank you all for watching Whitetail Frenzy.
Make sure to check us out on Facebook, and I know Kenny and I, we love the questions you give us. So make sure you keep feeding us those questions. Anything you want to know about us, about our strategy, what we do, our life, anything, make sure you get in touch with us.
Yeah, give us a like on Facebook. And you know what? We'll actually make a post after tonight's show. Go in there. There'll be a post about this shot and about the episode, and we'd love to hear your feedback.